We are back again for another top table talk, and it's been another crazy week of football. And shots have been fighting. Tom as well.
Tom needs to get his own channel, I think.
His true colours are coming out.
I did not expect that, Tom. I thought he was he's one of our spanners as well, so I thought he was part of the alliance group. But clearly
no, we are all supporting Exeter. Let's be real.
And you're still rattled, Charlie, just because I called you Blue Arsenal. By the way, I gotta take issue, boys. Right, that opening splash screen. Like seriously, thank you for updating the wallpaper on here and stuff. But you got West Ham, man. I mean, I haven't shaved my hair off in a long time, but I don't think I look like Lawless. You got West Ham on there and not Forest.
That's true. No, that's my fault.
No, I want to give you more work, as I love you, really. But Adam did point it out, and I just noticed it.
Yes, I have to do something with the music as well. I'm afraid sometime, but we might struggle on for the rest of the season. And
I don't think anyone else would have noticed that, but you, Wolfie. So
it wasn't me. It was Ant. It was like, could you tell the boys I love them, but they still have West Ham on that thing? And I was like, you know what? Let me look for it today.
I'll fix it, Ant.
Eagle-eyed Ant is on the case.
Oh, you know him with his traditions, man. He was alive when Forest won the Stars, so yes,
Well, hang on, Wolfie. What if I put you guys in and then you start to drop? Because
it's on Ant. Then it's on Ant, mate.
Yeah, okay. I'll do it.
Don't do it, Daz, because I know it's a pure pain in the ass. Yeah, well, I'm just saying. I just have to acknowledge it, right, for the Forest boys. Just that it's been acknowledged, that it's been noted
for club purposes.
Exactly. For pride. Yeah,
definitely. But welcoming people, see people flying in the chat with their comments and opinions. Just make sure whilst you're putting your comments and opinions in, you're clicking the likes as well. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribing. But look, I was waiting for Adam to turn up, but he's not here yet. So
can I just address the comments? Sorry to interrupt, right? But they've taken me completely out of context, right? And I get it. Yes, I said I want Liverpool to win the Carabao Cup, right? I'm not saying I don't want Newcastle to. I said it to Specs, man. Specs nearly cried, right? Let me explain myself, right? And I wouldn't begrudge this from Newcastle either, right? If Forest and I don't know Man City are in the final for the FA Cup, I would expect you lot to like us to win it, but from your own perspective, would need Man City to win it because you need the position to go back in the league. I want you to win, right? If you guarantee me top 4. Or even the title, then I'm happy. So don't start calling me Judas Colton, right? I see you in the comments, but I'm just saying I have to be selfish. The alliance is the alliance, yeah, but the alliance needs to get us somewhere.
Well, clearly the alliance is the alliance until it's not.
Red card.
You've said that. You've been banging on the alliance, Wolfie, for weeks now. You've said that on another channel to Specs as well, who's a friend of the channel too. Can't believe it, man. Can't believe it.
Can't believe it's the alliance and the meeting. He was the founding father of the alliance. I don't know. We'll let him back for now.
I'm just being honest up front. Like you guys should be applauding what I'm saying here. That's what I'm saying. Look, if Newcastle and Forest are guaranteed top 4, go and do a league double. As long as we're still not in it, a cup double. Sorry, right? But you guys, are you telling me you don't agree with me? Like you would prefer to see the position go back into the league rather than the cups as an insurance policy?
But if nothing's sewn up right now, then yeah. I mean, if you're me and Daz, and if you're Charlie, you would want it going back into the. You'd want it to go back into the league because we're probably in a different mix than you are.
But it's only a Conference League spot, isn't it, though?
We're saying only. Come on, Charlie, man. That's your competition this year.
You weren't saying that yesterday.
Yeah. No, this year it is. What I'm saying is, though, I'm not aiming for Conference League this year. It's not like we're talking about a Europa League or a Champions League spot.
Yeah, but Charlie, you look at the league right now. We talked about it before. Like we talked about it last week. You look at the league right now. With Bournemouth didn't even get a mention on Potts last night. Like Bournemouth
should they?
Too.
Nor should they.
Okay. We'll be very
B.
ready.
That's right.
But if you look at the situation, like you kind of need it in there because you want it almost to go down to 8th place. That pretty much, hopefully, fingers crossed, it all kind of guarantees us all picking up a European spot, and then we're all happy because we're all playing Europe at some level, regardless of what happens. That's kind of what you want. But for you,
Liverpool win, it'll be 8th place Conference League.
Yeah. Potentially.
Well, I think it's 7th place Conference
But if it's
League,
5 places for the Champions League, then it will be 2 Europa League, 6 and 7.
No, the Europa League, one of them comes from the FA Cup. So you would need Liverpool to do. Well, they're out, aren't they? But say Man City to win that to send it back into the league. Yeah,
that's right. So Conference takes it to 7th.
Yeah,
and then the FA Cup. If one of the teams that's in that European position wins the FA Cup, that then goes down to 7th Europa Conference.
Yeah.
8th. That's how it should work.
James is saying Wolfie flapping so much he thinks they'll need something. I'm not. I'm just saying, right? A good businessman puts in some fail safes. That's all I'm doing. This is nothing against the alliance, right? This would shake the alliance if I did it secretly. I'm just saying, honestly and upfront, right? This is kind of, there are going to be some certain lines that need to be drawn. Like in 2 weeks when we play each other, we're going to shake hands on a draw before the match. Of course we're not, right? Am I going to come out and say I want Forest to win? Is that going to Judas you all up in the chat? So, there's lines. There's lines we have to draw. We've signed contracts. There are agreements, there are clauses, and everything else, right? Don't recant on these clauses.
Well, you're sitting pretty in the top 4. You're very much likely to get top 4. I'm surprised you're already panicking and hoping that we don't win already.
No, I want you to win.
You're playing too safe, Wolfie. I think.
No, I'm saying I want you to win, but from a Forest perspective, I need that position.
You know what you're saying? I know what you're saying, but I'm saying.
Explain it to your chat, Pete. All I can see is Judas in there.
You're playing too safe. You're in the top 4. You're comfortable right now. You're a significant amount of points away. You've got to have a seismic drop for you to be.
I encourage you to watch. I don't even want to say it. The Forest fans know I'm talking about Forest Stoke, where we are comfortably in the playoffs. Massive goal difference. Needed a huge swing for Swansea to get in, right? Last game of the season and what have you. Forest do a Forest, right? I have to put these fail safes in, man. What was the goal swing? There's some Forest. I think it was ridiculous. It's like 6 or 7 goal swing needed, and we managed to screw it up. So it's just Forest, mate.
Fair enough.
It's far away. We'll revisit. Look at it. Let's get the league up by now.
Charlie, let's talk. Let's get this out of the way. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Adam's not here. He will be at some point for a swing by to talk this particular result. But I'm not going to lie. I didn't see all of the game, but
they didn't miss much.
But what I was shocked to see you not win. Now, were you there? Did you go to the game?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Talk to us, man. What
you get a discount there because, they're your feeder club.
No discounts, mate. No discounts. If anyone's been there, it's the worst ground to get out of. It's terrible, by the way, to get out of. You've got the whole stadium has to queue for a train outside the stadium to get to Brighton train station. It's shambles. The
seats are comfy though.
The seats are comfy. It's padded seats in the away end, but you don't sit down on them, so it's kind of pointless, really. But no, mate, it wasn't a surprise to a lot of Chelsea fans. I would have been lying if I said that I predicted us to lose, but it's not a surprise that we lost. We're not playing well at the moment. We're 2 wins in 9 in all competitions. We're struggling right now. The football that we were playing earlier that had us up in second has disappeared. And the worrying thing is how much of a collective drop off there's been from everyone. Throughout the season, you'll expect drop off from certain players. here and there. It happens. But when you've got the entire starting 11 dropping off and none of them reaching the form that they were showing earlier in the season and not showing any signs of refinding that form, that's a big problem. We haven't really played well for a while. Yes, we did an all right second half against West Ham the other night. Okay, we're a bit fortunate with the winning goal, which takes a large deflection off Wan-Bissaka. But we're having a lot of possession in games. We're doing absolutely nothing with it. The final ball is lacking big time. We've got wingers that aren't contributing anything. We've got Christopher Nkunku playing as a centre forward. He's not a centre forward. He had one touch in the Brighton box, which is just not good enough. I think we had one shot on target in that game against Brighton as well. And when you're going to these cup ties, and the cups are important for Chelsea, it's something that we've had big history in, is winning cup competitions, going deep into them. When you roll up and you do what Maresca's done in both competitions, obviously up with your boys at in the Carabao Cup earlier on this season, where it was like, we can't really be bothered with this game, but we're just going to put this out and hope for the best. It wasn't quite like that, but it was a worrying performance in terms of there was just no fight, no desire, no ideas, and it wasn't a surprise. It really wasn't a surprise at all. The goal that we did score was a gift anyway, because Verbruggen just pushed it into the back of the net. It was almost like Robert Sanchez was back in the goal, was in goal for him. But yeah, worrying times, mate. Worrying times. There's a big mentality problem as well. There was just no fight, no desire. We go 2-1 down, and no one seemed bothered. And that's the concerning thing for me is that there seems to be a mentality creeping in from top to bottom of mediocrity. That it's okay to go out of cup competitions. It's okay.
You include
to
the fans in that statement.
It doesn't matter.
I haven't even said anything yet. Are you talking about Chelsea fans? I thought you were talking about Brighton.
No, Chelsea fans, mate.
Oh, thank
I'm
God.
on your side this
Oh,
week. Chill, man.
I'm
Chill.
I've got too much
on your side
PTSD.
I don't
That
think
7 has cut you deep, man. I've forgotten about it. Come on.
No, I don't
Let's
think
gang
so.
up on Charlie.
Nah, some of
Yeah,
them.
we've got that romance going, man.
The thing is, though, Charlie, as much as I'd love to absolutely rip you for that game, I am the fact that we have to play you again this week means that this could come back to bite me in a big way. Because you
wouldn't
guys
be too concerned.
Easily, I mean,
worry,
I couldn't
Adam, I'll
believe
rip
how
them
poor
for
you
you.
were. Yeah, I couldn't believe how poor you guys were. It was really surprising considering how good you were against us earlier in the season. I think I said this before, but one of the most impressive displays against us all year up until maybe last week. And then you guys were just tragic. It was really uninspiring.
Yeah, no, it was. It was boring, is what it was. I mean, it in the ground, and I'm just like, I was actually bored. It was like, I was genuinely disinterested in what was going on. That doesn't really happen that often. Normally, though, fully focused on the game and that. And the last couple, West Ham, particularly first half, this game as well. There's just a kind of a genuine disinterest. Like you sort of, we've all watched games when that like within the first 10-15 minutes that your team's not going to win, or you can keep playing for hours and you're just not going to score. Like a lot of games are having that feeling at the moment. Look, we're still in a position where we're still fourth. So I think it's important to say that, like,
how are you still fourth?
We're not in a disastrous position in terms of league position and in terms of getting back into the Champions League. We are obviously still in contention. I don't believe that we will finish in the top 4. If 5th place gets Champions League, then that's a possibility. But we are still there or thereabouts. And the fact that we've won 2 out of our last 8 league games, and we're still 2 points ahead of Newcastle and City is a mad one, really. But yeah, there's a lot of concerning signs. The manager's got to do better. There needs to be, the mentality's got to shift. There needs to be more fight, more desire shown on the pitch, and the manager's got to find a way of getting what he was getting out of these players earlier in the season, because what we're seeing now just looks like a totally different team.
I'm just going to come back on that, and Rich, welcome in, adds as well. Great to have you with us. Charlie was just mentioning before about, he kind of expected that performance from Chelsea. But I didn't watch the game personally, so you boys might have a better perspective. But I'm looking at this team, Charlie, and I'm looking at some of these players in this starting lineup. I'm looking at Casado's playing, Pedro Neto, 60 million you bought in the summer.
No, it's 51 million.
All right, 51. We'll haggle.
We're adding 9 million on, are we? Is that what we're doing?
Rounding error for you guys.
I'm going back to the summer where it was reported at 60.
Yeah.
I
Everyone was raving about him, to be fair, as well.
Yeah. Jadon Sancho,
he's been disappointed.
These are good players you brought on. You had Dewsbury Hall, who hasn't been good for you, quite openly. But you brought on Enzo Fernandez just before the 60th minute. Like that isn't that's close to being a pretty strong team, if not your strongest team. So for you to say that you kind of expected it, surely, because I asked you last night and I'll ask you again, like surely you got to be worried about getting top four, regardless of where your position is right now, because your form's not great, but you're still playing pretty much your best players and you're still not getting results.
Yeah, no, it's a concern. I mean, I said it last night. I don't back us to get top four now, purely based on how we're playing. The fact that we made the squad worse in the January window, we didn't address what we needed to address, and we let Felix go, who was an attacking option. Whatever you think of Felix, like it's an extra body in there. You now don't have that. So it's one less option. Then when you don't recruit and get what you need, you're asking. You're always taking a gamble that players will get injured. And obviously on deadline day, both strikers that we have in the squad get injured. Those are the risks that you take. So you play stupid games like that, and you're gonna get punished. But it is a concern, as I said. The drop off in form from these guys. Look, okay, you look at the team that went out on Friday night. Okay, that there are players missing, but there wasn't that many missing. I mean, Nkunku is not a number 9. Maresca's even said it himself. We've seen him enough times up there to know that this guy's not it. But that was the only option that we had. So we had to do it. But it's like playing with 10 men. He's like a French Statue of Liberty up there. He's touched the ball one time in the Brighton box. Useless.
It's French, isn't it? I don't know.
He is French. Yeah, he's French. Yeah, he's a French Statue of Liberty up there. And it's crap. And like it makes people think that Nkunku's a shit player. He's not. But when he's used as a number 9, he's crap. And we knew that before the game. But we had to do it because there was no one else to play there.
Charlie, I'll tell you what, it's funny because you've got sort of parallels to what we've had in that when Welbeck was injured and we had to try and play Ruta or Pedro up top in the number 9, we had the same issues where you didn't have the proper focal point you needed. Yep. And what we ended up resorting to, was just let's give the ball to Cole Palmer and see if he can do anything. And it doesn't work. Like it's difficult to play like that. I'll tell you what I was also shocked about. Yeah, the starting 11 you had wasn't awful, although I'm glad Dewsbury Hall was doing terrible considering he snubbed us. Your bench is shocking.
Yeah, it's terrible.
What's that bench? Where's your depth? How have you spent all this money? Where's 6? Well, I didn't know who 5 of them are.
Yeah, we let 6 players leave in January who probably 4 or 5 of them would have been on the bench. We have got players missing. There was obviously no Fofana, there was no Lavia, there was no Jackson, there was no Mark Guiu. That's another 4 that would 3 of them would be on the bench minimum. There were players missing, but the depth, and I think I was guilty of it. A lot of Chelsea fans were guilty of it earlier in the season. This squad's amazing. We're playing 2 different 11s here and there. There's so much depth. There's so many options. I think what we're seeing now is that the Conference League, because the level in that is so low, that masked over the deficiencies that a lot of these players have got. And when you then call on these players to produce in the Premier League when you need them, you actually see that most of them aren't really contributing. Felix, a prime example. There's a reason why he's now in Milan, because the guy started 3 Premier League games and he showed very, very little. It's the same with the Dewsbury Hall. I don't know why we signed him, but again, he's clearly not trusted by the manager.
You signed him because we wanted him. That's why you said that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly don't know what was going
on. Cut out the
middleman. And yeah, the squad is not as good as what people think it is. Like, it's not. Don't get me wrong, it's not terrible, but it's nowhere near as good as what a lot of people make out. The way that it's been put together is shambolic. And with the amount of money that's been invested, I said this the other night, to still need the spine of a team, essentially, when you've invested over £1 billion in the squad, there's got to be some level of accountability for that. Because right now we're becoming a football club where no one takes any responsibility or accountability for everything. When things are going well, everyone's fine to come out and speak, pat themselves on the back. When things aren't going well, we're playing crap and there's problems. No one's there to be seen.
Charlie, was your team better last year or this year in terms of the squad?
I don't think there's much in it. Look, obviously we got Fofana back, we didn't have last year, but we did have Thiago Silva. So I think defensively, we're probably about the same, maybe a bit worse. Midfield, we have had Lavia for a few games, but again, it's probably pretty similar because Lavia's just not been around enough. And going forward, yeah, okay, we've added Neto and Sancho, so you would say that was a
Felix for 5 minutes.
Well, and Felix for 5 minutes, but he's gone now. There's not much in it. We are obviously, it's important to remember though, by the way, that this time last season, we were bottom half of the table. So like we're now fourth. So there's no comparison for me in that regard. But in terms of which squad,
you can't use that line though, can you?
Which squad is better? I don't think there's that much in it. I think there's probably better attacking options, but generally speaking, I think it's fairly similar.
I think you summed it. Go on, mate. Go on.
I was just going to say, if he thinks he's got a similar squad to last year and they finished 6th and they basically scraped 6th, why do you think you can get top 5?
Maresca's a genius, isn't he? I thought that
but Charlie don't like him. He won't say it publicly.
No, I never said I didn't like him.
Yeah, like I said, you won't say it publicly.
No, I've never said I didn't like him. No. Not true.
You were a potch boy, though. You were a potch boy.
I just think you summed it up pretty well, Charlie. And then I know we were ribbing you about, title race and all that kind of stuff, but there's no way you can be anywhere near a title race with with no goalkeeper and no striker. You just can't do it. You just can't do it.
You can't.
And I just don't understand how you can spend all that money on. It's almost like he's gone, right, we'll have him, like going into a sweet shop and just picking, what you think might be your favorite sweets, and none of them fit together. It's just crazy. Like, I can't understand how you can't understand the fundamentals of a football side. Like you work on the spine of the team first, and then you get the other bits around it. Like it's just crazy. Like the goalkeeping situation is just embarrassing.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like we've signed so many goalkeepers. We've signed so many, and yet look, Jorgensen. I don't know how good the guy is because he's not played much. He was in for West Ham. I presume he'll be starting on Friday. Sanchez played in the cup, so I presume now Sanchez is the cup keeper, and he's obviously number 2 choice. But we'll find out. We don't really know how good he is, but yeah, look, with the amount of keepers we've signed, we could have just signed one top class one for decent money.
So you could have used that guy at Bournemouth.
Yeah,
Kepa's on loan.
He's your best keeper.
He's your best keeper.
He's the best keeper.
He's your best.
By a mile.
Well, I mean, look,
where's Tammy Abraham? Where's Tammy Abraham when you need him as well? Get Tammy back.
They're all going to AC Milan.
They're all at AC Milan. Yeah, a lot of the former Chelsea boys are AC Milan. But yeah, no, look, you're right. The squad's been put together in a shambolic way. It lacks balance. It's missing key pieces. And when there's no accountability and just an acceptance of mediocrity in their positions above the manager not to blame either. His mentality, questioned that in recent weeks in terms of how he just doesn't seem that arsed about going out the cup. The players don't seem that bothered. There's no leaders. There's no fight or desire on the football pitch. You don't want to look back to what you used to be because it's kind of a pointless exercise. But when you look back to the teams that were winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues and stuff, and you look to what we've got now, it's nowhere near. It's
embarrassing.
Absolutely a million miles off. So yeah, it's not great. But somehow
the other point is that Cole Palmer can only perform at those levels, those ridiculous levels, for so long, and then you can't just be it was like what Villa used to be, and I've banned his name from our podcast, so I won't mention it. Yeah, I won't mention it. I won't mention his name. But it's like what we used to be under Dean Smith is just give him the ball, just give him the ball, and just hope that he does something. And it's almost like that with you guys, and you've got way better players than Villa had at that point. But I haven't seen Neto stepping up really. I haven't seen Madueke stepping up
No,
really.
they haven't.
Jackson was at one point, but now he's dropped right off. And Kunku,
that's
like you say, 2 touches all game. And it's and if Cole Palmer can't drag you out of the shit for week after week after week, you just can't do it.
But that's the problem, though. Other players have got to step up. Yeah, everyone's got one player that they not that they rely on, but they kind of look to. But everyone else has got to step up. This kid's 22. This is just his second season playing regular Premier League football, and he needs help. He does need help. Is he doing as well as last season? The numbers aren't bad. He's 14 Premier League goals, 6 assists. He's not, he scored 22 goals last season. I wouldn't put it past him getting 7 or 8 more in the last 14 games. But yeah, it's tricky. It is tricky. And others have
so embarrassing, man. I love you, Charlie. You're sitting here whining about your team basically being shit.
It's not
and
good
you
enough.
spend over £1 billion and you still want more players. I didn't say it's your fault. I'm saying what you're doing is embarrassing, right? Instead of telling your manager to coach the fuckers that he's got, you're basically saying, give me more sweets.
Well, no, sorry.
Do you know that you've had 24 hours to compute why I called you Blue Arsenal? Do you now accept that?
No,
Do you accept it?
No, I'm not accepting that because
why?
All of us here know that we need a striker, right? We've needed a striker for 3 years.
Blue Arsenal.
That's not unreasonable. You can look at the squad and see that there's gaping holes in it. You can also look at the squad and say that Maresca should be getting more out of this group of players. We are still 4th, by the way. We're talking like we're in the relegation zone or something. We are still 4th.
And to be fair, we're not, but you definitely are because you already conceded. You're not getting Champions League.
Sorry, we're ahead of we're 2 points ahead of Newcastle. People are talking as if we're like in the dumps.
How much are they still behind us?
You're telling us that you're not getting Champions League football.
No, I don't think we will. But right now, we are ahead of Newcastle right now.
A perfectly good hotel died.
We know that. But you told us earlier. That you weren't getting Champions League.
I don't think we will now. But we are still in the Champions League position at this point. But I don't believe we will because of the reasons that I've given them, because I'm not sure when I look at us. I'm not saying I don't know where the next win's going to come from, but there's a bit of a feeling where you're a bit unsure when the next win is going to come because of the way that we're playing, because of the feel around the place right now. But yeah, at some point,
you won 8 days ago.
Yeah, I know, but we've won 2 in our last 9 games.
I know, but this is so recent. Like you're talking about a team, you're describing a manager and then a team like, they're not getting the best out of them, they can't execute. This was the team that lost once in 4 months earlier on.
It was, but this
it was Liverpool.
Yeah, but this is my point though. When you look at that team, what about 6-7 weeks ago, the drop off is alarming from everyone. And why was the manager 6-7 weeks ago able to get what he was getting out of the players? Why now is he not getting anything out of this group? I don't have the answers to that.
There's just got a coach you can have. There's just got a manager you can have.
Yeah, that's possible. I just wanted to say briefly, sorry for my late arrival. The simple answer to that question, Charlie, is because he's whack. If you look at Maresca's performance in the championship, it's very similar, no? Under Leicester, he started off really well, and then he faded. Under Chelsea, he started off well, and he faded. And Charlie, I mean, you're not as shameless as that guy we were dealing with yesterday.
He is shameless, mate.
But you're not far off.
Shameless, no.
Because you're here talking about being in the top 4. Just about. You are literally 2 points ahead of Newcastle, 3 points ahead of Bournemouth. For me personally, you won't be getting top 4.
I agree.
People have given you the Europa Conference League. I think you're dusty. I don't actually think you would win that competition. And I think it's very, what I can't stand from an entitled fan base, because that's what you are. You're an entitled fan base, the Richie Riches of this world, is you can still come on here shaking your bum violently. Oh, we ain't got a striker after you spent 1.5 billion. Then your whole club's a mess. What are you doing?
I agree.
It's rubbish. But for me, you should be demanding standards. You know, I've got Chelsea fans telling me they can still win a title this season. And I said, what's the title? They were in the Europa Conference League. A competition that we were happy to relieve ourselves of. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys have literally fallen from grace. So, look, Charlie, why don't you do us all a favor? There is only one team on this panel that you're finishing above this season. And that's unfortunately my club. I can take that L. But I don't think you finish above any of these other teams.
We're not finishing above Brighton.
Well, just beat you, mate. We'll beat you on Friday and then we'll call it a day.
I think Brighton slap you again. I think Brighton slap you again.
I think there's a good chance. There's a good chance they could.
I do want to
If
come
you get
to
slapped
Brighton.
by Brighton, they're literally 6 points behind you.
Yeah, it's bad.
I do want to come to Brighton really quickly because I know Adam needs to go. Because obviously Brighton won the game. You're in the next round. Like clockwork, the fixtures are there. The draw has been made. The trip to St James's Park. What do you make of that? Could you make it 2 for 2, or is it time for us, Daz, to get a little bit of revenge after that last game earlier on in the season?
I think so, Pete. But Adam, your thoughts?
They're not good ones because I saw some comments earlier in the chat. This was the worst draw we could have possibly got. Away to Newcastle. It's the worst possible draw.
Oh, what? You got Newcastle away next?
In the cup.
In the FA Cup. That was the draw there.
I was just looking at the team sheet. Sorry, I was just computing that. I'll see you in the final, Toon.
Oh, okay.
Alliance is strong in that one.
Rick will have something to say about that as well.
Ipswich got a little additional letter in there. That's lucky for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, this was a horrible, horrible draw for us. And like you said, like we were fortunate with the game earlier on in the season. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen again. But as we just talked about with Chelsea, as we've sort of seen with almost everyone this season, including now Liverpool, based on what just happened at the weekend, every club is capable of just being nonsense one week and then amazing the next. How do we get battered 7-0 by Forest and then beat Chelsea?
I'll tell you how. You want to go through that again?
You can. I think I've heard enough.
Is that a question or a statement? I'm not quite sure.
But I do not have good feelings about this cup draw. I would have taken Man City away more than this game.
Wow. Well, look,
I think your only saving grace is the Carabao Cup final. Is it 2 weeks after?
There's a lot of you've got busy fixtures too.
It's a weird one because it actually the cup game falls after the international break. So we normally come back into a Premier League fixture, but we don't. We come back into an FA Cup fixture, which is really weird. So it's towards the end of March. So the Carabao Cup would have been done by then.
Oh, okay.
And so it's almost, I think, the next match after that. But yeah, it's after the international break. So anything's possible at that point. But for us, Daz, we're looking at righting those wrongs from earlier on in the season because we did batter them and they got that goal. And fair play, you ended up winning and deserved it in the end. But we need to put that right, surely.
I guess I was really happy for the three Brighton fans, Adam, Maz, and was your mate called Lewis, that you got to smile that week. So, you know, I was happy. Chelsea need humbling. Their fan base is a disgrace. And I think their fan base is the reason that we're seeing this Chelsea collapse because they put no standards or pressure anymore on their team. Drogba, if he was dead, would be turning in his grave right now. He really would. It's just unbelievable how you go from a quality team like that with a quality manager like that, and you're accepting mediocrity.
No one's accepting anything.
You are. You're saying you're not even in a top 4 race. You're saying a good season would be top 4 and the Carabao Cup. You're turning into lawless. That's what you're doing.
The thing you're doing is applying no context to it. You're not applying any context.
It doesn't need context.
But it does need context because
you were a quality team with a quality manager with a fan base that had standards, and you are now you're West Ham. You're West Ham. You're the blue West Ham.
I need to apologize. Dave Cook's just turned me right, and he's absolutely right. I'm already thinking about the next round, the 6th round. After the international.
You're getting that Adam beat already. Easy. There you go, Adam. You're winning now. You're winning now. That's it. You're winning now.
I got the dates mixed up. It's actually David, you're absolutely right.
It's the title that's putting you off, man, with the thumbnail. He's holding 2 cups already, yeah? We may need to copy of that one.
I apologize for that. It's the 1st of March. So actually, it's before that. And that'll be after we play at Anfield.
Yeah, you'll play Liverpool. Yeah.
So yeah, who knows at that point? We'll have players back. Hopefully, nobody injured, but we'll wait and see on that one. But let's see. Let's see how it.
No, in fairness to Charlie said a couple of weeks ago he ruled Chelsea out of a title race. So now and he's correct. So maybe he's correct with ruling Chelsea out of a top 4 finish. Top 5 gets Champions League, hopefully.
Top 5, as long as we're in the Champions League, if it's 5th, it's 5th.
Yeah,
all right, I really don't want to ask, but
we're all in that boat.
Can we have 7 or not? I'm still not clear on this.
7 what?
7 in the Champions League.
If an English team win the Champions League, if an English team win the Europa League that doesn't finish in the top
5,
6 or top 5, yeah.
So Man U or Spurs.
Really, Man U or Spurs to win Europa League.
And Villa to win
the Champions League. Are you sure? Because I've seen that rule that says capped at 5 countries and it scares me. Sorry, capped at 5 per country.
I think man to add to he shoot is working, but I haven't seen it confirmed, but I think Rich, I think from what I've heard, I think you're pretty close to
this way. It's not happening though, is it? So
I hope not.
Liverpool could win the Champions League, but I think someone else there. Villa could win it, but who's to say you're not going to get Champions League anyway?
Yeah.
Who knows off the back of that? It's going to be an interesting one. Look, I know you've got a big game tonight, Wolfie. So we'll come to you first, and then we'll have a look at or recap the game at Villa Park. Whether some may want to or may not want to at that point. But Wolfie, big game tonight, and I heard the word
St. James's as well, mate.
St. James's Park, yeah.
Second rate. But Charlie, I heard the words from Charlie saying, "I'm praying for an Exeter win." Is there any chance of an upset tonight? You said you've got the team sheet. Has there been many changes?
I'm looking at the team sheet. It's a little weird. He's got Toffolo and Bolly at centre back, and he's playing Ryan Yates. So it's all changed. It's a full kind of the B team, if you like. Even though some of them will be A team, like Danilo and Sangare are starting, they're just getting the old minutes in the legs, warming up. So yeah, look, there's no chance in hell Forest don't go through tonight. And you can flip me on it. Daz is ready. Give him this timestamp, whatever. Yeah.
No, it is.
But it just can't happen. They haven't won since Boxing Day. So we're through. In fact, I'll go a step further. We're already in the quarters because we got Ipswich at home in the next round. So I'm not even worried about that. So it's done and dusted. But I do love the fact that Forest are absolutely vexing Charlie this season, that he's there doing with his little voodoo doll there, putting pins in the Forest logo, hoping they go out.
No, we're repping the South Coast. You know, we need Exeter and Plymouth to be flying the flag.
They can fly whatever flag they want, mate. It won't be in the FA Cup after tonight. I can tell you that much. So, you know, and this is why, and I know why it's bugging Charlie so much, because they spent $1.5 billion just to try and fight for the Champions League spots, and we've just turned up, and here we are, third. So I get it why he's annoyed. So yeah, no, there's no chance. We'll see you guys in the final, maybe Villa, but I'm pretty sure Man U will scumbag their way to winning this title. I mean, if you're giving goals from offside positions where 4 of your players are offside, you know a few brown envelopes have been exchanged. So there's no hope for anyone winning the FA Cup this season.
You did drop that in there yesterday, and it did drop a bit of doubt in my mind when you mentioned about Man United just kind of fluking their way.
How many times have we seen it? How many times have they cheated their way to some trophy or other? Last year, VAR was conveniently there when they needed it against Coventry, wasn't it? It just magically appeared for them in the same tournament, and it magically disappears for them when they don't want it there.
Who could you potentially get? Daz, have you got the pick to put up for the drawing?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Here it is.
Oh, what has it done the sequence?
No,
Yes,
it hasn't done
Ipswich
the.
at home. Oh,
So home to Ipswich.
Yeah, we're in the quarterfinals. Clip me.
Okay, so yeah,
I mean, the
another
only
favourable
easier
draw.
game. The only game I didn't want to play was Bournemouth. Out of those lot,
I think
because
we were the same, guys. We said the same, didn't we?
Yeah, we said we didn't want Bournemouth. We didn't want Man City, especially when we're playing them at the weekend. But yeah, and we wanted a home draw, so we got what we wanted, a home draw, and it'll be an interesting one against Brighton. It always is actually when we play Brighton. We haven't come out on the right side of that for a few times, so it could go either way. But let's hope we're still in a roll by then.
Could we be saying that? Could we be saying that Villa have got the easiest draw of the lot there? Cardiff at home.
well, no, Man
Villa or Man City. Man City, probably.
Plymouth are giant killers. At this moment,
Away.
Cardiff are stinking out the joint in the Championship.
Yeah.
Surely you
not
could be
bottom,
buzzing with that, Rich.
I was buzzing with the draw. I was thinking we're going to get used lot away. I was all set up for Newcastle away and going out again. So I'm just again buzzing to be in the fifth round. We're
Cardiff.
Yeah, we haven't made the fifth round in 10 years, and the last time we did that, we got to the final and got absolutely battered by Arsenal. So yeah,
how did you get Cardiff?
Yeah, well, it's a good draw for us. I don't know what else to say. Good draw. I'm buzzing.
There's still some teams in there, though. You look at Preston, Burnley. You're looking at Palace, Millwall, but Millwall could potentially have a shock. You got Fulham that could beat Man United. You got.
Well, I think the big thing is that four Premier League teams. That's if Forest beat Exeter tonight, but four Premier League teams will be going out.
Yeah,
and that's the big thing.
That's massive.
Yeah, but would you all feel more comfortable if Fulham beat Man U?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
If Fulham knock out Man U, then I think, honestly, I'm not even trying. I think it's between our three teams. I really do.
That's what do you think?
Sorry, I was just doing what Wolfie asked me to do there. Sorry, what was the question?
Would you feel more comfortable if Fulham knocked out Man United?
No, I would rather play Man United than Fulham because Fulham has done us twice this year.
That's true. Actually, I changed my mind. Yeah,
I'd rather play Man United.
That's
I know
true.
what you're saying, Daz, because I would rather play them in the league. Like, give me Man U, home or away in the league every game for the rest of the season, I'm fine. But they just scumbag their way to these cups, man. They have a way. Yeah. And I just want them out.
Dej, I want to come to you. Obviously,
Before you do, I just got to shoot over to the watch along, boys.
Oh, man, you take care.
Have a great stream.
Enjoy your game, Wolfie. You deserve all of it, mate. You deserve all of it. All of the limelight, all of the praise, all of the chest. You deserve it, mate. I hope Forest does the double this season. Screw all clubs. Go for it, mate.
Thank you. Deji, don't let Charlie off the hook just because I'm gone.
No, mate. We're done.
He needs to turn off his camera right now.
I'll see you boys later. Have a great stream.
Top man, Wolfie.
Wolfie.
I'm going to come to you. Just on who you think may well win the FA Cup now with the teams that are in it. I know you've given a little promotion there to Forest, but I want to get your opinions on the game at Villa Park before then I come to Rich, because it looked bad. It looked really, really bad. It looked disjointed. You had players that were just all over the place. The defending for some of the goals were shocking. But we'll start with the game first, actually, and then we'll come to who you think might win the FA Cup. Talk to me, man.
Yeah, look, I think it's fair to say that Tottenham are in a really bad mess. I was delighted when you sent me the invite tonight, because what I am doing is I'm publicly putting myself out there for the next manager of Tottenham Hotspur. Now, the thing is, I'm actually willing to do the job for free, or at least on a pay-as-you-go basis. So if I draw or lose a game, I'm not expecting to be paid a single British pound. But if I win, then I am expecting some remuneration for that. So yeah, look, I'll be honest with you, mate. I can't lie to you. This has been absolutely one of the toughest seasons I've ever experienced as a Spurs fan. The first thing is, Postecoglou does have a point. There's no way after I speak that Rich will stand up, start smiling, pump his chest, and say how Villa were just this amazing, sexy team. The truth is, they played Tottenham's under-21s, and they had their full strength team out pretty much. And that's what it's been. I'm not making excuses for our bench or for the lineup. It is what it is. I just feel that we could have I just feel that Postecoglou could have managed the team better on the day, and he could have managed it better so that we would have had more players at our disposal. The truth of the matter is, whether you play under 21s, whether you play under 15s, I want to see some fight. We had no fight against Liverpool. We somehow had, we went out with a whimper, really, against Villa. We were never really in the contest. And that's why I've been saying Ange has to leave. What so happened is that Tottenham fans have been so battered that they actually want this brother to stay to the end of the season. I'm like, what the hell is going on? You were the same fan base that wanted Nuno gone. You were the same fan base that after a Champions League final, we had a rough 3 months. You wanted Poch gone, and all of a sudden, you want Ange in. Now, Pete, the truth of the matter is, Ange is a gambler. His favorite movie was Casino Royale. Do you know what I mean? He plays that movie on repeat. He is Russian roulette football. Russian roulette, you're gonna lose more times than you win. That is what gambling is, and that's how Spurs play football. So against Villa, I can't say I was that impressed, but when you're playing Archie Gray out of position, I mean, I can't tell you if Archie Gray is a really good player. He's out of position. When you're playing Mikey Moore, 17, Archie Gray, 18, Bergvall, 18, Tell, 19, Kingsley, bloody hell. He had one good game. His first game was literally his best game. Ever since that game, he's gone from Kingsley to dodgy. That's what he is. He should be called dodgy. Dodgy keeper. It's mad. So Tottenham is a hot mess. I think I blame content creators. So I am blaming the Loaded Mag for part of it because of all the records.
It's our fault.
Yeah, Daniel Levy had to take you guys abusing him for sacking Mourinho, before the Carabao Cup final a number of years ago. And so I decided that until we are officially out of all three competitions, this guy stays in the job. What a madman! And then I think Tottenham fans, they say that I have too much focus on the Red Tottenham, the Spicy Spurs, Scotch Bonnet FC, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't give a damn about them. But the truth is, I think Tottenham, deep down, is hoping that Postecoglou does an Arteta. Arteta finished 8th and 8th, and then all of a sudden, the rest is history. I think they think, let's hold on to this guy, and maybe we shoot up the table and the rest is history. The question I pose to the Spurs fan base is, what happens if we don't go up? What happens if we go down? And I'm not so entitled to believe that Spurs will stay up this season. A lot of people say, oh, Deji, but you're having a huff and puff. We know that it takes 40 points to stay in the Prem. I can only see Tottenham getting 3 more points between now and the end of the season. And that 3 points is against United this weekend, aka Piccadilly. And that's the game I've decided to go to witness Tottenham's last win of the season this Sunday. So where are we going here? And I think Daniel Levy has made a big gamble, and I think it's a risk too far. And we are in a mess. And kudos to Villa. If we were playing a depleted Villa team, I wouldn't be shaking my bum here. I would have said it was light work. Our full strength team whacked them 4-1. And Liverpool is one of the most disgraceful teams I've seen in my life. Because in order to knock Spurs out of the Carabao Cup, they went out with a whimper against one of the worst teams in League One, Plymouth. So make that make sense.
I love it. Love it. Love those little monologues, Deji. And it look right to respond, Rich, because he did mention they're playing a lot of young players. You shouldn't be as happy as maybe Villa fans have been at that win. Would you agree with what he said?
No, I think with Villa as a supporter, I'm just glad that we're in the 5th round because we've had a terrible FA Cup run over the last 10, 15 years. However, with Tottenham, I've got zero sympathy for the injury chat and all that kind of excuse making, primarily from the manager, because it's the way that he plays and the tactics that he employs and the training that he instructs on the training field that is causing all these injuries. He's bringing players back 3-4 weeks early and then asking them to run ridiculous distances, not changing his tactics, kamikaze football, as Deji said there, Russian roulette football. So what are you expecting? I don't understand what you're just going to consistently get players injured. Yes, that he maybe could have been backed a little bit more in the transfer market, but people were raving about Ange Postecoglou at the end of last season, raving about the new signing. Solanke was going to be the second coming. Maddison was going to kick on. All these players were going to come in and do amazing stuff. And it's crashed and burned because of the way that he plays. So other teams have had tons of injuries. Bournemouth have had tons of injuries. Newcastle had loads of injuries last season. Villa on Sunday had no centre-backs. We had one fit centre-back playing in the game, which was Ezri Konsa. He had to go off injured. So we had Kamara playing centre-back. Then he had to bring on a young lad at centre-back who's a Bogard, and that's not his position. Ollie Watkins was injured. Onana's injured. Ross Barkley's injured. Matty Cash is injured. So Pau Torres is injured, as I say. Tyrone Mings is injured. So we've got 8, 9, 10 players injured ourselves. The difference is that our manager doesn't make excuses.
Yeah,
that's it.
I totally agree with you, and I think that's why I was Ange in. If you see me at the beginning of the season, I was in favor of Ange. I love the ball. I still prefer the football in terms of being on the front foot rather than having Conte or Mourinho ball. But what I can't legislate for is his mismanagement of the squad, and I'll give you a prime example quickly. He refused to play Jed Spence.
That's crazy. He's the best player.
He's been doing well.
And then the wing back Udogie gets injured. Then he plays Jed Spence. Then Jed Spence, it seems like he's better than Porro and Udogie combined. Then you're thinking, so why didn't you play him earlier? What are you looking at in training? Then he'll do this thing where he's like, I don't want to rush the players back. Why are you rushing them back? The Chelsea game is a game we always lose. Granted, let's say you always lose to a certain team. Why would you rush back your centre-backs for one game? Rushes Romero and Van de Ven back in the same game. They last 20 minutes and they leave and we don't see them again. Like, hello? If they needed 2 more weeks, give them 2. I'd rather we lose 2 more games than to now lose them completely and we're in the run of the mess that we are in. Also, against Villa on the weekend, why did you start with Son? Like, why? He's been rubbish all season. Some say it's because he's tired. Some say he's lost it. Whichever, he's just not the guy right now. Don't play him. You've played him. Do you know what I mean? Archie Gray has played 95 different positions this weekend. For Spurs in general. Why is he now? I forgot what position. Was it right? Was it left? Was he right back? He was right.
It was him and Danso at centre back.
Or him and it's too much. It's too. What has poor Archie Gray learned this season?
This is the thing. There has to be actual centre backs in the under 23s that you could put in at centre back rather than playing an 18-year-old who doesn't play there.
It's crazy. So he's learned nothing this whole season. So I think he needs to go. I think under Areola or somebody else, they will get it. And I think I get it. I actually get Ange Ball. Ange Ball is the perfect system when you're playing in leagues that are not great. When you're playing in leagues where there's only 2 teams, look, Ange Ball would work with Real Madrid. I swear down, he would win the Liga with them. He would even win the French league with PSG. One-horse races, but not the Prem. The Prem is too strong. The managers are too smart. Look what Eddie Howe did. Bravo. When I looked at that line, sorry to just let you know, this is a Newcastle channel, so it'd be remiss of me not to give Newcastle some props. When he put Lewis Hall in that midfield, I was like, what's he doing? This is a left back. Played midfield. Bravo. It worked a bloody treat. I sit here and I wonder, Eddie Howe, if Tottenham had Eddie Howe, mate, we would be somewhere. Like,
let's not forget.
He's not given enough respect. Eddie Howe is a tactician. He's a madman.
Let's not forget when we scored that second goal against Arsenal, Dej, Shaw was pressing like a striker. He pressed Rice to nick the ball off him for Gordon to score the second. That was his job. He came out from centre back and was pressing their deepest midfielder. That's part of the tactics. Boys, I've got a question for each one of you. Okay, and they're all different. Okay, but I know Daz has got an additional question for you, Rich, as well. Dej, you talked about Ange. You talked about Ange and your frustrations with the whole situation, the team selection, the style of football, the results. Everything is frustrating. You seem broken from where you were on top of the mountain at the beginning of the season. You seem a broken man. So my question to you is, where is Ange's breaking point? At what point do you, as a club, because I think many of your fan base have already said enough's enough, where does the club go enough is enough? Is it the Europa League going out of that? Is it at the end of the season when the season's done and dusted? Or is it now? Because these results look like they're going to continue. Where is it for you, mate?
So what Postecoglou has been able to do is he's able to spin a narrative, and he's done it very, very well. The narrative being, I've got so many injuries, that's why we ain't won. And I'm like, oh, well, actually, towards the end of last season, we were playing this crap. When we had the same players, we were still playing this crap. I mean, we went to St. James's Park and lost, and that was our full-strength team. So shut your mouth. But he spun it. Look, I think Tottenham are hopeful of the Europa League at the very minimum. I think once the Europa League once we're out of that competition, then it will dawn on Levy. He is cocked up. Because for me, I've been saying, cut him before it gets worse. We are in a relegation dogfight, and the only thing saving Spurs is the idea that this man is mad enough to maybe win the Europa League and we get Champions League for. Can you imagine Spurs winning the Europa League and somehow stinking out a Champions League position next season? It's fairy tales. It's a fairy tale movie. It's all or nothing. But really and truly, me knowing the manager that I have, he has to go now. But I think they wait to the end of the season. And again, they bought this narrative. They bought the narrative of you can't take, no manager would leave now. So what, you're chatting rubbish. Areola would leave now. He will say, hey, I have built a solid foundation at Bournemouth. Thank you very much. I'm now going to try myself with the big. Do you really think Areola gives a damn about Bournemouth? No disrespect to Bournemouth. I'm just being real. He's not going to stay at Bournemouth even if he got Champions League with them. Why would he? Because he's not going to have the resources to do anything meaningful with that club. He did this at Rayo Vallecano. So that means Tottenham can pay the 2-3 million fine or whatever, release the contract, get him in now. We can do an Amarin, what United did with Amarin, get him in now. Waiting to the end of the season, I think we could be waiting for Areola in the Championship. And that's my biggest fear. That is my biggest fear. I don't think Levy appreciates the mess we're in. And I think there's too much entitlement in the Spurs fan base. Spurs, I can only see 3 points between now and the end of the season. That means we're down.
Wow. That would be something. Absolutely. And I'm going to switch over to Villa because there's a couple of questions here. Daz, you go first, mate. You go first because you might be asking the same question.
Yeah, well, look, I'm going off what Geordie Tune for Life has put here. And I just want to ask, I'll refer to George Hoover first. Rich, has Emery bought the Tyndall t-shirt yet? And I want to ask you, Rich, are you offended by this in any way, shape, or form? Or what is it? What is it that has got Villa so riled up that they need to reference the wearing of a Wham hoodie as part of that objection towards Jason Tyndall?
I don't know. Emery's a smart guy, isn't he? He likes to present himself well on the touchline. So I think he might be just a bit annoyed at the lack of dapper clothes on the touchline by Tyndall. Yeah, I think he wants his managers to look like proper managers. So I think that might be more to it. But it's going to be an interesting game when we come up against you in April, because there's been a lot of gloating from Newcastle fans, particularly in my WhatsApp group. So I'm just looking forward to the game at Villa Park.
It's going to be a different game, absolutely. It's going to be a good one as well. And
I just think Emery, him and Eddie Howe, I don't think they get on that well. I think there's a bit of a respect there, but I just don't think Emery likes him very much. So I think he wants to beat him bad.
Yeah, and I think it's because the record against you hasn't been bad for Newcastle.
No, absolutely not.
And I think that'll be why. Because look,
Villa's home record against Newcastle is good, but Emery's record against Eddie Howe in particular isn't great.
Yeah, and that'll be part of the thing. And we're almost fighting for the same positions in the league, and I think it's part of that
6-pointer for sure.
A couple of questions for me. You've made some big loan signings that are going to cost a lot of money in wages for the next 6 months. I didn't see too much of the game, but Rashford came on, Asensio came on. How did they perform? And then my second question is it, can you win the cup?
So Rashford and this, I mean, a lot of people making a lot of big deal about Rashford for obvious reasons, but I'm actually more excited and intrigued to see what Marco Asensio does. I can't say I know a huge amount about him, because when he was probably in his prime in the Champions League and everything, Villa were languishing in the Championship, so I never really watched him. But from all accounts, he's a fantastic footballer. So I'm really intrigued to see what he's going to do. Marcus Rashford, we know what he's all about, and we know with the story of Rashford. So if we can get a tune out of him, then we know what he's going to produce. In terms of the game on Sunday, they came on in a great position. We literally just scored the second goal. The crowd was buzzing, and then you bring on two potential world-class players off the bench into a situation where you're going to pretty much know you're going to win the game. And some of the football that they came out with in that half hour was fantastic. But I want to see what they're like when we're 1-0 down. I want to see what they're like when we're 2-1 down away from home. Can they inspire a victory? Asensio, I'd imagine, has been brought in for the Champions League games. Can he inspire a set piece or some form of brilliance to get us a win, to get us through to the next round? That's what I'm looking for. So yeah, they played really well when they came on. But equally, Morgan Rogers and Jacob Ramsey are absolutely flying at the minute. And I know Charlie was talking about Cole Palmer, but Morgan Rogers he's the one who started that celebration. So he's the one it's his celebration, not Cole Palmer's. So, and he's getting to use it a bit more this season already. So Morgan Rogers is absolutely flying, and there's more improvement to be made from him. Jacob Ramsey's getting back to full fitness. And then you've got Daniel Marlon, who is signed as well. He's looking sharp. Ollie Watkins coming back from injury. You've still got Leon Bailey, who needs a rocket up him, but now he's got a bit of competition. Is he going to start firing again? So all of these attacking options that we've got, it's absolutely crazy. We just need to keep the ball out the other end. But the problem has been lack of goals, because we only really had Watkins, Duran, and Rogers scoring goals. We need more from Ramsey. We need more from Bailey. And now we need more from Rashford and Asensio. So we know we're going to concede goals, but if we can score 3 or 4 a game, we'll win a lot more games for this back end of the season.
Is it a case of you must this season now? You've invested so much in those players because they're going to cost a lot in loans, and that will all go on PSR and a lot of loan wages that you're covering in your, I think your turnover to revenue is already excessively high. Is it a case you have to?
Yeah, the wages thing I think is a little bit misleading, because I think they reported 13 months of getting technical, but they reported 13 months of accounts instead of 12, so it inflated the wages to revenue. So that'll be a lot different this coming season. The short answer is yes. I think he's brought them in to make an impact, whether that be to win a cup competition, FA Cup, go deep in the Champions League, or finish in the Champions League spot or finish in a European spot, but minimum. So that is why they've been brought in. In terms of like the fees and stuff, I think Villa, the John Duran sale absolutely helped, but I think we were in credit by about 50-60 million for like the January window in terms of our kind of incomings and outgoings. So yeah, Rashford's on a high wage, but I think it's like 8 million, 7 million pound. I think our loan fee for Disasi is higher than what we've put in for Rashford. So I don't think it's as bad, like, because we had to pay 5 million loan fee for Disasi plus his wages, whereas for Rashford, it's 0 loan fee, 75% wages, or 90% if we qualify and do various other things.
Right, okay. It's going to be an interesting one, but you're in the mix with us for the FA Cup in the next round. And Daz, I'm going to ask you, and Dej, feel free to jump in on this regarding us and Villa in this situation. You know, with Newcastle now, Carabao Cup final, Daz, FA Cup with the potential, if we get through for Brighton, potential of another Wembley visit. We've got a couple of rounds to go if we get through that, as well as fighting for Champions League football. Do we get to the point? I was asked this yesterday from Potts, but I'll ask you this: does it get to a point where we need to stop prioritizing one over another, or do we have to spread ourselves wide? It was referred to me as, what eggs do we put in what baskets? But do we need to consider that right now at this moment in time?
No, we do have to spread ourselves wide, because it's a cliche, but every game's a cup final for us now, because we have to fight on all fronts. We have to fight for Europe, even towards the Champions League spots, and obviously the one-off game in the League Cup final, and trying to progress in the FA Cup. So, so much to fight for. I know as well, if we do spread ourselves too thin and try to get over everything, I know we talked about it in previous seasons. Then we could fall on all fronts, but. The League Cup is just it's one game, so we've no more fighting apart from that day, and you can't be saving yourself for that game either, because we saw that before in the build. It was all building up to that League Cup final, and then we just fell flat on the day. So I think we do, again, link it back to what Eddie Howe to say, to take each game as it comes, and not look too far ahead, because 2 losses and we fall away in the league again, and like from Champions League spots, we want to be still in the mix, and it's whoever we've got on a run in this season already, and a good run at that. If we can put together another good run, then we might put ourselves more in the picture for Champions League. So, but let's see. It changes, chops and changes every week, so we can only look after ourselves. A lot of cliches in there. That answer that.
Dej, I'll end it on your opinion. If this was Tottenham in this situation, Carabao Cup final, 5th round, potentially with a good chance with a home draw going into the 6th round, then 1 game away from Wembley, fighting for Champions League, currently in, I think, 5th or 6th place. I think we're 6th at the moment. Just have a look. Yeah, we're in 6th. What would you be prioritizing one competition over the other, or would you be what Daz is saying in terms of spreading yourself wide to make sure you're trying to be as competitive in all?
Yeah, I think you guys know me very well. I'll be going for the double. Do you know, crazy enough, Newcastle could do the double this year. I know I'm into doubles and trebles. Why can't you beat Liverpool? Why can't you win the FA Cup? You deserve it. And actually finish in the top 4. That, for me, would be a remarkable season. To finish with a double and finish top 4 means that Eddie Howe is here to stay, and he deserves his statue. You could do that. And I think teams respect your team is strong enough. Eddie Howe manages it correctly. You don't have the European exploits now. I don't know whether you'll be able to cope next season. But whilst you're here, while you have this opportunity, whilst the momentum is on your side, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all, I always say. Enjoy yourself. And so for me, I would love to see Newcastle do the double. You know, if you're gonna do this, do it properly. And if not now, when? And so I hope, because if you don't, the other thing I wanted to say to the others, because Charlie was shameless. Part of the reason why Chelsea's fourth is because everyone's been crap. And I'm not saying that I think Newcastle have been well, but I don't see the likes of Plymouth, you know, Arsenal, Spurs. You know, we're not going to be, even United, we're not going to be this bad next season. So it's going to be even tougher. So this is your chance. Almost like this is your life. It's kind of mad. Pretty much all the big teams are out. Get that red book out. Do the job. Because if you don't do it now, I don't know when. Like, legitimately, I don't know when. We can stop huffing and puffing. I think this is your time. And that's why it's so bad. If Arsenal don't win the league this season, that's them done. Because we waited for City to fall off. They fell off, and you didn't take the chance. So take your chance while you can, because it won't be this rosy next season.
I think they're great words. They're great words, and I think they as much as I'm glad that you're saying those words about us, I think it would be the same for Rich and Villa as well with the FA Cup. Is that you've got an opportunity.
Just on that, Pete. Let's say that we were to win the League Cup. I hope it just doesn't stop there, though, as well, because there's still a lot that can be done this season. But we're going too far ahead. But I hope that they keep fighting on all fronts. And likewise, if we lose the League Cup, we have to keep our heads and keep going on what's left.
Well, you've seen it from other teams in the past where they start to prioritise cup games. You see it from us 2 years ago. You could see the players and our results started to drop before the final because it was almost like the players were trying to protect themselves because they wanted to be fit for the final. We ended up losing Bruno for 3 games. Pope got sent off against Ricard. It all started to kind of fall apart because everyone started to think differently. That was your answer, Daz, is the answer I gave yesterday. Is that we cannot afford to take our eye off the ball in any competition, in any game. We have to be focused. We have to play the same way, with the same attitude, with the same mentality, whether it's at the Etihad on Saturday, whether it's Forest the week after that, or whether it's the 1st of March against Brighton at home. We have to play the same way. And you're right, Dej. We've got a chance of being in that mix for winning multiple trophies. But the key for me is that we keep our players fit. You know, we've got a couple of worries of Burn and Botman going into the game on Saturday. I do think one or both will be fit personally, but what you don't want is those little niggles start to creep in, like you've seen with Arsenal. I mean, Tom Dixon put in the chat tonight that apparently in Dubai, Havertz has got got a serious injury. So
keep your players fit and for the fan base to believe. I had no doubt that you would have slapped Arsenal up. You've got a good team. Like, respect your club. It's a good Newcastle side. That's why I fight for Eddie Howe, because I felt like from your owners, he's not really been given the love because he's maybe not the sexy name. But, you know, this season they've had to pipe down. Newcastle can do this. You really can. Like you could beat Liverpool. They're all that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Saying, you know, everyone was waxing Liverpool, shaking his bum. It was crap. Tottenham's rubbish. We're in the mud. There's nothing to celebrate here. When Arsenal beat City, I was like, so what? Everyone beats them. Like, calm yourself down. The one team I don't like playing would be your team and would be Bournemouth. I swear down. Those are 2 dangerous teams. Even Villa, dangerous sides. But I feel like when the fans doubt the players and you doubt, it rubs onto the players. Newcastle that night last week, it was on fire. You go into Wembley, I hope we can do something. You go in there like mice. You'll get dealt with like mice.
Yeah.
We did that 2 years ago, Dej.
That was the Man United. That was, we'll enjoy the day. We'll have a great day. You don't go to Wembley for a great day. You go to Wembley to win.
And we knew, Rich, we made that mistake as soon as that final whistle went. It was almost a realization of we could have actually won this. They weren't very good at all. Man United fans, I keep saying it to Dan United. And he got stuck in traffic, so he wasn't able to make it up. But I say to them all the time, like, they know they got lucky that we just did not turn up, that we played the occasion rather than the match itself. And this is why I think, and I said last night, I've just got this weird, I'm not saying that we're going to go and win it, but I've just got this feeling that we are going to approach this game with that mentality of forget the occasion. We're coming to win. We're coming to win, and we're going to come for you. If we don't win, we're going to die trying, and it's going to be that type of mentality. And I hope I see that. I really do.
And it didn't seem like it at the time. It's probably still doesn't now. But like, if we were to win a domestic cup, then we nearly need to thank Man United for taking that European spot off us, because it's allowed us to focus on that. But let's see how it plays out.
Yeah,
let's see. Boys, look, we'll wrap it there. We've had way over 200 in the chat. We've still got 180 plus in the chat. Click the like on the way out for us, please. It means the world to us. And thank you for all your support in the chat. Some great questions, comments all the way through the show. Big up to Deji and Deji Spurs. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel, Villa Park Pod, that's growing daily. Go check them out and check them out on TikTok as well. Great content.
A good run. No, well done.
Doing some great stuff. Both channels smashing it all over the place. You got Together BHA with Adam. He had a flying visit tonight. You got Forest Fan TV, which we're going to direct you to.
Yes, stay on. You get directed to Wolfie straight after.
So we'll be directing you in there. The Blue Brothers and Charlie for all things Chelsea. And I don't know if I'm missing anybody else, but Dan United on TikTok. He wasn't here tonight. Go show some love, and of course, show us some love on the way out. But people, great show. We're out of here.
See you next one.